रामानुजदयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुग्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं कुनयाति परां गतिं वेदवेदे परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना अंजनानन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशम् अक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्का भयङ्करं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। आञ्जनेयमदिपाठलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनं। यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम्। Namaste. Namaskaram to all the astikas present on this beautiful evening. In the series of Srimad Ramayana Navaham, hosted by the revered Sri Shiva Vishnu Temple, we are in day 6. Day 1 and day 2, we had the opportunity to experience Balakandam through the topics Sri Rama Jananam and Sita Kalyanam. Day 3 and day 4 were dedicated to Ayodhya Kandam under the topics Chitrakuta Gamanam and Sri Paduka Pattabhishekam. Day 5, which was yesterday, the mid of the entire series, was Jatayu-Moksham and Sabari-Moksham, which is integral to Aranya Kandam. Today, day 6, we shall experience Sugreeva Pattabhishekam, which is Kishkinda Kandam. Tomorrow, it will be Anguleeya Pradanam of Sundara Kandam. And to Yuddha Kandam, we have 2 days allocated, which is day 8 and day 9, which is Vibheeshana Sharanagathy and Sri Rama Pattabhishekam. Today, we have to commence at a place where we had left Rama. Rama, after having bestowed Moksham to Jatayu and having been witness to Sabari Moksham, continues his sojourn from Maharashtra to Karnataka. Well, there could be a relevant question from your side. Were states demarcated that way in those days? For our understanding, I am telling you that he came from Maharashtra to Karnataka. Borders could have varied. There were different presidencies during the colonial rule. So all that could be different for our understanding. As he continued his journey, he made certain relevant questions to Lakshmana and also lamented about his bad fortune. He first said, let us go towards Pampa Lake. Pampa Lake is a lake in Kishkinda Rajam even today. This is very different from the Pampa river which is spoken of in Kerala, which many devotees of Lord Sri Ayyappa revere. That is Pampa river, this is Pampa Lake. Like how there is one Salem in Tamil Nadu and Salem in US, right? Hridaye me naravyaghra shubhamam bhavishyati tada gaccha gamishyavaha pampam tam priyadarshanam. That time Rama says, hey Lakshmana, I am already inflicted with the sorrow that I have been separated from my dear brother Bharata. Added to that is the news that I heard from Bharata that our father Dasharatha is no more. Now over and above that I am missing Sita. Mam tu shoka bhisantaptam adhayah pidayanti vai Bharatasya cha dukkhena vaidehya haranena cha. By the abduction of Sita, I get to understand that I have to suffer more agony. There is a saying in the spoken Tamil language. The saying goes like this, I shall translate for those of them who may not be able to comprehend Tamil. Pattakalile padum. Pattakalile padum implies if a person is inflicted with one sorrow, the person will be aiming or desiring to get rid of that sorrow and come back to normalcy. But fate can be, vidhi can be very cruel at times. So to the same person who has been inflicted with one disaster, calamity or sorrow in their life, there will be another calamity that will come over. So it is called Pattakalile Padum, which means sorrow shall bundle one over the other. Rama says, I have already been inflicted of the sorrow of the separation of Bharata, death of father, now abduction of Sita. What more should a human suffer? Kim nu vakshyami dharmajnam Lakshmana, if I get back to Ayodhya after 14 years without Sita, imagine my father-in-law Janaka comes there. If he asks, where is Sita, what answer will I give? Kim nu vakshyami dharmajnam rajanam sattvadinam janakam prishta sitam tam kushalam janasamsadi. What will I tell my mother? Kim nu vakshyam ayodhyayam kausalyam hirvatmaja kvasa snusheti prichanti kadam chapi manasvinim snusha. Where is my daughter-in-law if she asks? Use these words in your daily lingo. If you have to refer to your daughter-in-law, ask your son, where is my snusha? Your son may ask, what are you referring to, daughter-in-law? So we can imbibe some Sanskrit words in our daily routine. We call her daughter-in-law. There is a smaller word, snusha. Right? Where is my son-in-law? Why should we bring law into our family? We can call him Jamata. Right? Easy words. See, this is how we can inculcate classical languages in our daily life. Some may ask, some retort, stating that Sanskritam is a dead language. You are not speaking in Sanskritam, but their names will be in Sanskritam. All our names are Sanskritam derived. We will say it is a dead language. So our names should also be dead. Correct? With that law. So it is better we start exploring the options of using some Sanskritam words in our daily routine. Snusha, Jamada. What is a father? Who is a father? What is the word for father-in-law? Guess. How, if you read Tirupallattu, the first invocatory verse has that word. I'm giving you clue also. Guru mukham anadhitya prahavedan aseshan narapadi parikliptam shulgam adhatu kamaha shvashuram amaravandyam. So, Periyalvar is referred to as the father-in-law of Ranganatha, correct? Shvashura Mamarabandyam Ranganathasya Sakshat. Shvashura. Shvashura means father-in-law. Snusha means daughter-in-law. Jamata means son-in-law. We can use such words in our daily life. Where is my son? Where is my putra? You can ask. So, when there is something called Tanglish, why can't we make it Sanglish? Sanskritam plus English. So these are all ways. See, don't think I'm giving advice. I have no qualification to advise anybody. I can just suggest. These are all simple ways. Next day we cannot become Panini in speaking Sanskritam. At least we can use some words of Sanskritam. Well, Kvasa snusheti prichanti katham chapi manasvinim. At that point in time, Lakshmana, he says, what do you want, brother? I am going to tell you something. Excess fondness on any object or any person, if that object goes away for a moment, momentarily that object goes or momentarily that person goes away, even a person of great realization will turn slightly lunatic. He tells, Smritva viyogajam dukkham tyajasneham priye jane atisneha parishvangad vartiradrapi dahyate. What is sneham? My lecture has begun with questions today. What does sneham mean? Friendship? Love. Correct? All of you agree, love, friendship, attachment. But in Samskrita Amarakosham, sneham means greasy. Pisuk. Telugulo em cheptarani maku teliyadu. Greasy ante when you put oil it becomes greasy, right? That greasy nature is called sneham in Sanskrit. Then why is love called sneham? Because love is also greasy in nature. See, when you have something stuck to your hand, you can't get rid of it unless you wash it with some hand wash or something. So love is also that attachment. So love is called sneham. Original meaning for sneham is pichik, greasy. So Lakshmana tells, like how a lamp has that greasy nature, even you have got that excess fondness for Sita. Probably you would have said, see, even I am separated from my wife Urmila. Am I crying like this? Tyajatam kama vrittatvam shokam sanyasya prishthatah mahatmanam kritatmanam atmanam nava buddhyase. So he was the one who showed the path to Rama. The one who follows the path of Rama at one point in time became the guide to Rama. Tammattama tanga vilasagami gachantam avyagramana mahatma salakshmano raghavam ishtacheshta raraksha dharmena barena chaiva. Rama's Anuja became the guide. So Rama's Anuja is Ramanuja. See, this later the great saint was also called Ramanujacharya. In Tamil he is called Ilaya Perumal. Now, Prasangikam, I am going to tell you something. Yesterday I told you, right, what does Prasangikam mean? Irrelevant. It may not be relevant to the current context. Ramanuja, the word is very, very interesting. It appears in Ramayanam. In Sundarakandam, Sita inquires with Hanuman, Ramanujam Lakshmana Purvajam cha. How is Rama's younger brother and how is Lakshmana's elder brother? Will you inquire like this? Maithiliyoda maattu ponno, Janakiyoda maamiyaro eppadi irukka? Will you ask like this? How is Rama, how is Lakshmana? Should have been her question. Instead she asked, how is Rama's younger brother? How is Lakshmana's elder brother? Well, there is a reason behind that. Tomorrow if I have time I'll explain that. But at that point in time she invokes the name Ramanuja. This word Ramanuja is very unique in Sanskrit because there is one rule. There are 4,500 rules of Panini grammar. You have to learn Sanskritam grammar in its original form. You have to memorize 4,500 rules of Panini. You cannot refer. Only then you can master Sanskritam as a language. One of the rules is Purva Padat Sanyayam Agaha. There is a rule. If two words come together, Rama, Anuja. Anuja means younger brother, Rama means Rama. So Rama, the first word has the letter Ra. Ra is there. Ra, Rari, whatever form. Ra. The second word, Anuja, has the letter Na. Na, nal ka na jo hoti hai Hindi mein, na, wo na hai usme. So the first word has Ra, the second word has Na. The rule of Panini states the resultant word should not have a Na. It should have a Na. First rule you are able to understand. Now Rama plus Anuja technically should become Ramanuja. It cannot become Ramanuja. Let us take Ramayanam. Rama plus Ayana is Ramayana. Uttara plus Ayana is Uttarayana. But Rama plus Anuja is still Ramanuja. Why? Because for every rule there will be an exception. The exception word for the rule is Ramanuja. Well, now he shows the way forward. As Rama and Lakshmana walked towards the Pampa lake, that was surrounded by many mountains. Even if you go today, if you have time, if you are going to Bharata Desham, besides shopping at Ambika for Appalam, besides waiting at Shukra Jewellery, Sundari and Kanakavalli, you can take some time off and go to Hampi. There you will be surrounded by many mountains. One of the mountains is called Rishyamukha Parvatam. That is where Sugreeva was stationed. Sugreeva was excommunicated by his elder brother Vali. And as he was excommunicated, 4 people will agree with the idea and the thoughts of Sugreeva. They all went out. They started something called Sugreeva Munnetra Kazhagam, SMK. So they all came out and they were all housed in a cave of that mountain. Along with Sugreeva were Nala, Neela, there was one bear called Jambavan, and there was a very extraordinary person called Hanuman. So they were all there. Now Sugreeva, every 5 minutes he will peep out from the cave and check who are coming, because he was worried that his brother will dispatch some goons and get him killed. So he saw these 2 gym-bodied men walking. Yedau yenamidam durgam vali pranihitau dhruvam chadmana chiravasano pracharanta vihagadau. Hanuman, come here, these 2 men have been dispatched by Vali to kill me. Hanuman came and said, see, these 2 men don't look like goons first of all. They look like some impoverished people, some worry they have got. This is how they seem to me. Yasmat tava bhayam saumya purvajat papakarmanaha sanehavali dushtatma nade pashyamyaham bhayam. Don't worry, Sugreeva. By this worry itself, I think you will die one day. Don't worry. Sugreeva said, no, nothing doing, Hanuman. You have to go and check quietly with your nuances. You are a great speaker. You check who these 2 men are. From there you message me their names. I will check in the criminal list of Kishkinda and check if these 2 men belong to Vali's group. Now Hanuman had to go. Before he left, Sugreeva said, see, from there you should have one eye at them and one eye on me. So the moment you sense that these 2 men are the goons sent by Vali, you have to give me an indication through your eyes. How will the eyes of monkeys be? Markataka netram is generally eyes that they can't dance. That much you are able to understand. Dance, abhinayam is very important. The larger your eyes, the better the dancer you are. What will a Markata's eyes do? He's telling, look at me through your eye gestures, you have to tell me, I will run away. He says, Mamaiva bhimukam sthitva, keep your head towards me. Prichatvam haripungava prayojanam praveshasya vanasya dhanurdharo. Hanuman now thought, see, imagine you're walking by, what is this area called? Lanham. You will expect some humans to talk to you, smile at you. Suddenly one monkey comes. And it starts reciting, Tato yuddha parishrantam samare chintaya sthitam Ravanam chagrato drishtva yuddhaya samupasthitam. You will run away from that place. Monkey is speaking and reciting in Sanskritam. So Hanuman had this problem. See, if he goes and speaks in Sanskritam before Rama and Sugreeva, Rama and Lakshmana, what will they do? So he wanted to showcase himself as a Brahmana. So he went to the close by parlor. He got all the foundation, rouge, all that done. The tail was tied with a rubber band and fit inside his Angavastram. He took 2 hours to get himself ready as a Brahmana. Now after that he goes closer to Rama. As he went 1 foot closer to Rama, every step as he moved closer towards Rama, he felt an emotion which he had never felt before. As he was keeping his eyes fixed on Rama's countenance, every step he kept towards Rama, he felt that his body weight was coming down. Yenbanikka urugugindrathu, tells Kamban. Body weight was coming down. But another weight was increasing. Adavigindrathu, adavil kadal. The love that he had towards this man was just increasing liter by liter. Weight was coming down kg by pound by pound. So as he went closer to Rama, he looked at Rama and Lakshmana, and looking at Rama, he says, Sugreeva Sachivo Nama Hanuman Nama Vanaraha. I am the minister to a person called Sugreeva. I am a monkey by name Hanuman. 2 hours of makeup waste. He put his tail inside, all foundation, everything to prove that he's not a monkey. Why did he say that? Because as you go closer to the ultimate truth, you can never lie. You can lie to your relatives, you can lie to your children, you can lie to your own self. But when you stand before God and you see, you have realized the presence of divinity in that God, you may not be able to lie. Avyayaha Purushaha Sakshi. He is witness to what you think and do. How much can we lie and pose as if we are good people? So he said, Sugreeva Sachivo Nama Hanuman Nama Vanara. He did not stop at this. Look at the verses. These are all beautiful verses. Padma Patre Kshano Viro Jata Mandala Dharino Anyonya Sadrishau Viro Devalokadihagatou Yadrichayeva Sampraptau Chandra Suryau Chavasundaram Vishala Vakshasau Viro Manushau Devarupinau. Everything he does it in Dvivachanam. Because Rama and Lakshmana are there. See, when 2 people come to your house, you may use Bahuvachanam, right? Vango, Bandri, Ibru Barbeku. This is how you say it. ನೀವು ಮಾತ್ರ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ವಾ ಹೊರಗಡೆನೇ ಇರಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಅನ್ಯೋನ್ಯ ಸದೃಶೌ ಧೀರೌ ದ್ವಿವಚನಂ. ಆಯತಶ್ಚ ಸುವೃತ್ತಶ್ಚ ಬಹವಃ ಪರಿಘೋಪಮಃ ಸರ್ವಭೂಷಣಭೂಷರಃ ಕಿಮರ್ಥಂ ನ ವಿಭೂಷಿತಃ. These are all Hanumat Vachanam. Then look, hearing this, Rama wipes away his tears and with a smiling countenance looks at Lakshmana and starts speaking. Now what did Hanuman speak? Ayatascha, all of it was in Dvivachanam because 2 of them are there. Ayatascha Suvrittascha, you look like people of great character. Bahavaha parigopamaha, he says. Bahavaha in Sanskritam is Bahuvachanam, not Dvivachanam. Bahu Bahu Bahavaha. One hand, two hands, many hands. So if Rama and Lakshmana are standing, there will be four hands. So 4 is more than 2. So Bahuvachanam Bahavaha. But he looked at Ram. See, generally when you welcome two people, you look at both of them and say, Bandri, Ullavango. But now suddenly he looked at Rama alone and then said Bahavaha. Then Bahavaha becomes wrong because Bahavaha is more than 2. Bahuvachanam. You are able to understand the Sanskrit grammar here? No. Why did he say Bahavaha? No, sir. Suddenly when somebody speaks, do we all speak grammatically correct language? If you take my speech after 2 hours, transcribe it, I am sure you will find 1,000 mistakes. We are not bothered about grammar. My assumption is you are all great people. You will forgive my grammatical mistakes and take the quintessence of the lecture. That is all. Hanuman must have made a mistake. No, he can never afford to make a mistake because he is a Navavyakarana Pandita. Not one grammar he had mastered. 9 forms of grammar he had learnt. So how did he say Bahavaha? So the commentator understands why he said Bahavaha. First reason, Ramasya Dakshino Bahuhu. See, generally I don't know. This is a term that we often use in Bharata Desham. I don't know about the US. Suppose if I have a supporter who's extremely helpful, I'll say he's my right hand. I don't know whether it is used here. Varda sir, my right hand means it doesn't mean I will use him to write. It means for all the work I use him. So for Rama, the right hand, Dakshina Itaro Bahu, Lakshmana was a person. So if you have to include his hands, then it becomes Bahavaha. Even if you are referring to Rama, Rama's right hand is Lakshmana who has 2 hands. Correct? So in that case, Rama's left hand. Rama's right hand has 2 hands. Because Lakshmana has 2. So by 3, the number, it becomes Bahavaha. Second meaning, Yadva Hanumato Bhaktatvena Tasya Chaturbhujaveshena Drushyo Abhavat. Only to Hanuman in Ramayanam, Rama showcases his 2 other hands. So apt form of Rama is Bhadrachala Rama. He has got Shankham Chakram and then the 2 other hands. So for Hanuman alone he could see 4 hands. So he said Bahavaha. Look at the interpretation. Now, what does Hanuman say? Rama, you have come. He says, you are standing in front of me with no ornaments. And that is your ornament. He says, Sarva Bhushana Bhusharhaha Kimartham na Vibhushitaha. Rama had relinquished all his jewelry in Ayodhya. Now he has no ornaments. Hanuman says, you have no ornaments. But that is your ornament. Why? Ornament is supposed to add beauty to a person. That is why we sport ornament chain. See, I put all this and come. So that I thought you will all relish it better. You have nothing else to see for the next 2 hours. At the end of many of my lectures, people will come and ask, where did you buy that chain? Where did you buy that earrings? So, we wear abhushanam to enhance our existing beauty. But remember, Shastram tells, we adorn the Lord in the temples, Archa Vigraham with Abharanam, to reduce his beauty. You'll be wondering how. There are many kshetrams that each of you may be attached to. Some in the north of India, some of you may be extremely attached to the Dwaraka Adish of Dwaraka. Some of you may love Srinath ji of Nath Dwar in Rajasthan. Some of you may be extremely attached to Jagannatha of Puri Kshetram. Some of you cannot take away your eyes from Pandarpur Vithala. Rupa pahata lochani sukh jale wo sajani toha Vithala barva toha Madhava barva toha Vithala barva. So your mind will be behind Vithala. Tahige bayalli jagavannu tvarida jagado buddharaka nama Udupi Sri Krishna. You may be extremely attached to Udupi Krishna. కాళింగునితలల పైన కప్పిన పుష్యరగము ఏలేటి శ్రీ వెంకటాద్రి ఇంద్రనీలము. You may remember only Venkatachalapati Srinivasa Swami every minute you think of the Lord. ഇന്നും ഗുരുവായൂരിൽ തൊഴുതു നിൽക്കുമ്പോൾ മുന്നിലൊരുണ്ണി ഉണ്ടെന്ന് തോന്നും. ഉണ്ണി പുഞ്ചിരി തൂക്കുന്നതായും തോന്നും. നാമം ജപിച്ചു നമസ്കരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഹരിതതു നിൽക്കുന്നതായും തോന്നും. You may be reminded of Sri Guruvayurappan. So of the kshetrams that I have visited or I have had darshanam of, if you go to a kshetram called Uppiliyappan Kovil, it is near Kumbhakonam. It is called Thiruvinnagar. Ennappan enakkai irulai ennai pettavalai ponnappan maniyappan muttappan en appanumai minnappun madil shool Thiruvinnagar சேர்ந்தவப்பன் தன்வப்பார் இல்லப்பன் தந்தனன் தனதாள் நிழலே. The one who doesn't have a match, you should go to that kshetra, and if you have an opportunity, see the Lord's Thirumanjanam, Abhishekam. They will take away all the ornaments. They will just put one thin cloth over him during Thirumanjanam. It's called Tiruppariyattam. And then they will do Abhishekam to Uppiliyappan with no abhushanam. You should see. That is beauty's beauty. Sarvabhushana bhusharhaha. Having no ornament is his ornament, because the moment you put ornaments, it will hide his beauty. So Hanuman tells all this. After Hanuman tells all this, see, Hanuman, after speaking this, and then Rama tells Hanuman about Hanuman's speech to Lakshmana, they go to Sugreeva. And Hanuman tells Sugreeva that Rama's wife is missing. Rama did not say, my wife is missing, I was married, somebody abducted, nothing. Why? How did Hanuman know? That is what is the buddhi samarthyam of Hanuman. See, Rama had come, correct? Now you may say he is the Dirghadarshi, he knows what is happening, nothing. Today's Yajurupa Karma, for married men, they will sport 2 strands of 3 strands, correct? So while Rama sports that, it means he is a grihastha, not a brahmachari. So Hanuman concluded he is married. Second, Rama was a Nitya Agnihotri, so wherever he went, he carried the stick with the fire, which means he is a Grihastha who is performing Agnihotram, which implies that his wife is not dead, because a widower can't perform Agnihotram. So he is married, he is there with his wife, but his face showed sadness, which means his married wife is not along with him. Fourth, if the married wife is not along with him and is not dead, the only scenario is she must have been kidnapped. So I should not trouble Rama by asking this question. Look at what Hanuman must have thought. We would have asked her, Mami inge? தொலைஞ்சு போயிட்டாங்க. எப்படி சொல்லுமோனே? எப்படி ஆச்சு? அப்படியா? We will give no solution, but we know how to pinpoint at somebody's mistakes, trouble them further. This is what not Hanuman was. That is why he has a Sannidhi and we don't have. Correct? Now, Hanuman, as soon as Hanuman spoke these words, Rama looks at Lakshmana. This small incident has so much of value in it. Now Rama looks at Lakshmana. He says in a few shlokas, Nunam vyakaranam kritsnam anena bahudha shrutam bahu vyaharata anena na kinchit abashabditam na nrigveda vinitasya na yajurveda dharinaha na samaveda vidushaha shakyamevam prabhashitum avistarama sandigdhamadhrutam vilambitam urastam kanthagam vakyam vartate madhyamesware anaya chitraya vacha tristhana vyanjanasthaya kasya naradhyate chittam udyata serarerapi samskara krama sampannam adbhutam vilambitam ucharayati kalyanim vacham hridayaharinim Lakshmana. In my number of years, Rama must have been 38 years now. In my 38 years of experience, I have never seen a person as eloquent as this man. Rama tells this to Lakshmana and then cites all these verses. Anaya Chitraya Vacha, when he speaks, there is so much clarity, but his face doesn't change. He has got a pleasing face. See, when some people sing, you can only hear. You should not see their faces. They will do Mangalya Dharanam to the mic. They will catch Shajjam here, leave Rishabham there. Anaya Chitraya Vacha Tristhana Vyanjanasthaya. When you speak, certain words have to come from Nabhi. Nabhi Rikantharasana Nasadu Lillo Shobhillo Saptaswara. Certain words. Suppose the mic is of high volume, I should keep the mic slightly far away. If it is of low volume, I should bring it closer. So we should know the tactics of public speaking. Anaya Chitraya Vacha Tristhana Vyanjanasthaya Avistaram Asandigdham. You should not unnecessarily give gaps between words. Avail Vitirukakuriya Anaitu. If I speak at this pace, when will I complete my speech? Avistaram Asandigdham Adhritam Avilambitam. Speaking, you should captivate your listeners. You should not let them think this way or that way. That is speaking. You have to have an eye contact. You should look at them and talk. You should not shout. Ucharayati Kalyani. The pace, the pitch should be so good that people should feel, oh, this is so pleasing to the ears. If you look at some Patti Mandrams, debates, they'll shout. Why? That man is not going to run away. I don't know about here. There are so many 9 o'clock debates that happen in our Indian news channels in the night. 15 of them will come together and shout, each at their own pace. Is this the way that we have to conduct debates? See, India, Bharata Desham has a robust way of public speaking. We had methods called as Vitandam, Vadam, Jalpam. These are all methods of speaking where you let the other person speak. Then you have to put forth your point. Even if it is a debate, it is not shouting. Shouting is not debating, please. Shankara debated with Mandana Mishra. Ramanuja debated with Yagyamurti. They were all professional debates. It will go for 18 days. Morning 6 a.m. they will start, evening 6 p.m. they will have to conclude. Whoever is taking the minutes of the meeting has to come the next day. Wow, what a system we had. Today we debate, shout. So Hanuman was that high quality caliber speaker. Rama tells this is how speaking should be. But Tyagaraja tells. Tyagaraja came much later. He was just 150 to 50 years before. He tells, I have been doing Aradhanam to you, Rama. Asking you to come and speak to me. How many ever kritis I write, you are not speaking to me. Now I realize, even when the Navavyakarana Pandita, who was a Shankaramsham, the incarnation of Shiva came and spoke to you, you did not talk to him directly, you spoke through Lakshmana. Who am I before Hanuman? Chaduvulan Nitedhisi Shankaram Shudai Sadayuda Shuga Sambhavudu Mruka Kadalutam Muni Tammuni. With you asked your brother to speak. Balgaje Sitivi Gaka Mutyagaraja Adina Matalada Modi Galade Ramaya. Won't you come and talk to me? Well, even to Hanuman, you spoke through your brother. Who am I before Hanuman, says Tyagaraja. Now, why did Hanuman talk through Lakshmana? Because Lakshmana was his minister. Hanuman was Sugreeva's minister. When one external affairs minister comes, The other external affairs minister only can talk to him. So it was a position, hierarchy that mattered. So Rama tells, I have never found a person non-Rigveda Vinitasya. Even a person who has mastered Rigveda, Vinitasya. What does Rigveda make a person? Vinaya, humble. Na Yajur Veda Dharinaha. A person who has mastered Yajurveda, Dharinaha, his memory power will be very good. Na Samaveda Vidushaha. If you become a Samavedi Pandit, you will become a Vidwan. Shakyamevam Prabhashitum. Even the three of them cannot match his caliber. Why? Because what did Hanuman say? Padma Patrekshanau Virau. Your eyes are like that of the petals of a newly blossomed lotus. There he implied the person whom I am seeing in front of me is Kapyasam Pundarikamevam Akshini from Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya is a part of Samaveda. So Hanuman tells, I see the person who has been mentioned as Brahman in Samaveda in front of me. Deva Rupinau, the one who has come as a Deva. Because Yajurveda tells that the one who is a Deva is Ajayamano Bahudha Vijayate. The one who is unborn takes many forms. I see that man in front of me. So the quintessence of Vedas is what he sees in front of him. So hearing all this, Lakshmana, my brother, never talks so much. Who is this person? He's making my brother talk so much. Then Hanuman takes him to Sugreeva's cave. Sugreeva was behind the pillars. Hanuman said, signal, green signal, you come outside. Good people only, you come. Then Hanuman said, see, he has lost his wife. He has also lost his wife. Same pinch. See, in your vulnerable times, you will have to make correlation with unequal partners such as monkeys also. This was Rama's highest misfortune. Now, Lakshmana tells, even without Rama opening his mouth, Lakshmana tells, Sita yasya snusha chasi charanyo dharmavatsalaha tasya putraha sharanyasya sugrivam sharanam gataha. My lord, my dear brother has lost his wife. In order to seek his wife back from the clutches of Ravana, he has come seeking refuge at your feet, Sugreeva. See, others seek refuge at Rama's feet. Rama is so Vedanta Deshika says, Tarani Sudha Sharanagathy Paratantri Krita Swatantriya in Raghuvira Gadyam. Now he gives a account of how Sugreeva's position was. He tells Vali and Sugreeva were great brothers. Vali was Indramsham, Sugreeva was Suryamsham. They lived as happily, they lived as monkeys together. Now at this juncture I want to tell you, many interesting research work is happening on Ramayana in different parts and pockets of the country. But all that won't come to limelight. What is the use of Ramayana for the general public? So there are scholars who are researching. One research, interestingly, there is an inscription during the Chalukya period which states that certain, I don't remember the Kusad or there is one tribe. That tribe seeks its origin from Vali's race. And subsequently there is one verse which suggests, see, during Dasharatha Rama's time there was another famous Rama. What was that Rama? Jairam, Jamadagni's son, Parashurama. Parashurama, being a Brahmana, understanding that the cause of his father's death was a Kshatriya called Kartavirya Arjuna, started killing one Kshatriya after the other. See, not all Kshatriyas are strong. So some of the Kshatriyas who were not that powerful, who wanted to escape from the clutches of Parashurama, started migrating from their existing kingdoms and came to the forests. And in order to settle in the forest along with the existing tribes and to live in harmony with animals, they started disguising themselves as monkeys. So this inscription, which is dated, states that they were all kings who migrated as animals. So this research suggests that is why Hanuman Vali could speak. And second thing, that is why the tail which was burnt to Hanuman did no harm to Hanuman. So this is one research. Now you may say, it is mentioned as Vanara, we should take it as Vanara. See, Nara means human. Vanara need not mean a monkey. It could mean some extraordinary human. Vanara, the prefix that we have could suggest. That is one interesting research. Now you may say, why should we research? See, only in Vedic civilization you have the liberty to research. Let this civilization remain that way. We have to debate. We have to discuss. This is how the nature of the civilization is. You may ask, in other religions, will they debate about this? Forget about other religions. Let them debate, not debate. We are nobody to criticize them. The nature of Sanātana Dharma is to debate and research. That gives ample opportunity to research. Now, Sugreeva, after understanding Rama's position, he gives his history. He tells that my brother Vali and I were great friends. Like brothers we never were. We were the greatest of the friends. Then what happened, asked Rama. He says that my brother fell in love with one woman. That woman was loved equally by another demon called Mayavi. So Mayavi and Vali started fighting. As they fought a duel, they started getting into the cave of a mountain. My brother said, in order to protect his subjects, if I don't return within a stipulated time, you start ruling and you cover the opening of the cave. One day I heard the cry of Vali. I thought Vali was dead and I covered the opening of the cave. I went to my kingdom. I did not want to become the next king, but my party and my supporters said you have to become the next king. So I was coronated as the next king. A week later, then my brother came. I thought it was his ghost. Then my brother said, you have ditched me and you wanted to take away the kingdom. So I thereby excommunicate you from this kingdom. While I was being excommunicated, my dear wife Rama was held captive by him so that she could become his mistress. I came out along with the support of Nala, Nila, Jambavan and Hanuman, and now we have been stationed in Rishyamukha Parvatam. Because it is in this Parvatam and this region, Vali will not come, because there is a Shapam from Matanga that if he comes to this region, he will die. Flashback over. Now, Rama asked, when your brother came back, what did you do? He said, I explained to my brother that I did not do this intentionally, my dear brother Vali. You know me better. I thought you were dead. This kingdom is yours. You take it back. I fall at your feet. Please forgive me for my mistakes. Rama said, hold on. Did you do Sharanagathy? Yes. Did your brother accept it? No. Lakshmana, point noted. Because Bharatam tells, if Ardra Paradha, even if a person who chops his mother's head off comes seeking Sharanagati, Sharanagati Shastram tells you have to forgive him. Sharanagati is the ultimate powerful tool. So if a person seeks Sharanagati and you don't give Sharanagati, the person who has not give Sharanyam has to be killed as per Shastra. Bharatam's rule. That is why Ramanuja and Vedanta Deshika insisted on Sharanagati. Because we are all those kind of people who commit all forms of sins. The only tool for us is Sharanagati. Now, Sugreeva in the due process offered a seat to Rama but not to Lakshmana. It was a Bhagavatapachara. Sugreeva did not realize that. He has to bear the brunt of it later. I'll tell you where. Now, Sugreeva and Rama had a memorandum of understanding, MOU. My wife is lost, your wife is lost. I will help rescuing your wife. You have to supply your army in rescuing my wife. This was the clauses in that agreement. So they had to go around the fire. What is that? Youngsters, many youngsters are here. What is that vow in Harry Potter? Unbroken, what is that promise? Unbreakable vow, right? Same unbreakable vow. Rowling read Kishkinda Kandam. Sita Gapindra Kshanada Charanam Rajiva Hemo Jwalanopamani Sugreeva Rama Pranaya Prasange Vamani Netrani Samam Spuranti. When you watch a movie in a theatre, the first half, after the first half, traditionally the long Indian movies, you will get to an interval. Before the interval, the last frame has to freeze in a very interesting momentum. That is what a director does. So Valmiki, being the director, he freezes the intervals where when Rama and Sugreeva went around the fire as a vow of friendship, what happened? He divides the screen into 3 parts. Middle Sita, one side Vali, the other side Ravana. So while they went around the fire, Sita, Kapindraha means Kapinam Indraha, the leader of monkeys, who's Vali. Kshanad Acharanam, the king of those men who walk nocturnally. Rakshasas. So Ravana. So Sita, Kapindraha, Vali, Kshanadacharana, Ravana. How were their eyes? Rajiva, Hema, Ujjvala, Na Upamani. So the eyes of Sita were like Rajiva, lotus. How were the eyes of Vali? Hema, gold. How were the eyes of Ravana? Ujjvala, like fire. The lotus-eyed Sita, the gold-eyed Vali, the fire-eyed. Now when I say fire-eyed, it doesn't mean there is fire. You're able to understand. See, that is why we must end up reading a lot of poetry. Then we will know how to take. So generally we say Mama Vara, Pushanika Varadu. Tomorrow we cannot use Mama in Sambar. Correct? So Upamani, simile has to stop somewhere. So the fire-eyed Ravana, Sugreeva Rama Pranaya Prasange, when they went around the fire, Vamani Netrani Samam Spuranti, all their 3 left eyes winked. Why? Because Nimitta Shastram tells Purushasya Vamanetra Spuranam Anarthakaranam. If for the man the left eye winks, it is bad. For the woman it is good. Reverse is true. Right eye for the woman is bad, right eye for the man is good. Now their left eye is winked. Why? Because if Rama vows to annihilate Vali, Vali will be dead. If Vali is dead, then his expedition to go to Lanka is smooth, then he will win over Ravana. Ravana will be dead. If Ravana is dead, Sita will be rescued. For Sita it will be good. So Sita's left eye and Vali and Ravana's left eye is also winked simultaneously. This is the interval pain. Now, as this vow happened, there are many notes that I have taken of how Kamban describes. Kamban kind of makes it more divine. It seems Hanuman told Sugreeva, Shang Chakaram ulla Tadakkayil. See, when I looked at Rama closely, there were some rekhas of Shankam and Chakram in his hands. He is no ordinary human, respect him. This is what Kamban tells, but Valmiki doesn't say. Now Sugreeva wanted to test Rama's valor. He said, I know you seem quite well built. You are carrying a good bow. You are carrying the bow properly. What does that mean? See, way back in India, some of the policemen will be standing with guns. The way they stand with the guns itself, we will know they will not be able to shoot. So, Rama was standing with Kodandam Dandamu Pette Nura Kodanda Pani Judara. So the way he was holding the bow suggested that he was a great Kshatriya. But Sugreeva said, see, I know you are a great Kshatriya, but you have to fight my brother Vali. You know, so many medals he has won. Rama said, what should I do, you tell me. He took him to 7 Shala trees. There were those large trees. I think in your west coast you come across that redwood trees, right? So they were so huge, thick, well grown trees. So Vali said, see my brother, when he shoots the arrow gets pierced into the tree and comes out from one tree. Rama said, there are how many trees, Sugreeva? There are 7. He took the arrow and programmed it. The input statement in the program was 7. Ideally, as a programmer, there was a mistake. He should have said 7 trees. But he said, arrow, go and pierce all that which is 7. So the arrow started piercing the first, went forward piercing the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and went further ahead piercing those which were sets of 7. So the Sapta Rishis were worried. We are also 7. They said, Vishwamitra, come here, we'll become Ashta Rishis. Sapta Kanyastris, they said, Sapta Matrikas, they said, we'll become Ashta Matrika. So then the arrow, it is suggested in Ramayanam that it will, after finishing its target, it will come back to Rama's quiver. Technically, it is not possible. If you ask any archer, will the arrow come back? That may happen in some of our South Indian hero movies. He will give one hit, 50 people will fall. And the hero will go unescaped. Avikaraya, Shuddhaya, Nityaya, Paramatmane, Sadaika Rupa, Rupaya, Vishnu. He fight 70 people, not even one crease will go. After lecture you should see it. People will ask, did you lift any suitcases? Just after lecture my creases would have gone, but our hero, nothing will happen. He is like Paramatma. Now the point is, can an arrow or any object go and come back? See, we see boomerang in Australia, which goes and comes back. So probably there was a hybrid between boomerang and arrow in those days. We don't know. If somebody has the time, research on that. Now, after having proven his prowess in hitting the shala trees, then Sugreeva says, very good, very good. I never thought you were such a great archer. Now you come. And Rama followed. Then he showed him a huge skeleton of a dead buffalo. Who was this buffalo? That buffalo was a demon called Dundubhi. Dundubhi had a quarrel with Vali, and Vali held his horns and threw him here, and that carcass fell on the ashramam of Matanga, due to which Matanga cursed Vali that if you come here you will be dead. So over a period of time the carcass was devoid of its flesh and blood, and what remained was a fossil. It was huge. The fossil itself suggested that the animal would have been huge. He said, my brother used to push this. What Rama did was, he took his foot forward, which is left foot. With his toe, it seems he just hit the fossil, and the fossil went and flew, and people did not recognize where it went and fell. Now we may understand, sir, is all this possible? Vedanta Deshika says, Dridhagatita Kailasa Koti Vikata Dundhubi Kankala Kuta Dura Vikshepa Daksha Dakshinetara Padangushta Darachala Vishwasta Sugridashaya. So he said that. Now Sugriva said, very good Rama, come. You can fight my brother. Now, after coming back, they had to arrange a muhurtam to go and fight Vali. Before which Sugriva said, see, I remotely remember one lady being kidnapped. Rama, you're telling me so late. All this while you were telling me hit Shala tree, hit Dundubi. You should have told me this before. How do you know who is that lady? See, one lady was being carried. I was in my own problem. So I did not pay heed to what she was telling. But what she did was, she started throwing jewelry looking at us. There is a part of a pallu. This is what you call in your human world, right? We have got that pallu also. Rama said, show that to me. Sita sneha pravrittena satubashpena dushitaha ha priyeti rudan dhairya mritsrijya nyapadakshito. He said, yes. These seem to be the jewelry of Sita, but I cannot confirm this because Sugriva, after having missed Sita for so many weeks, all I am doing is only shedding tears. So my eyes are swollen in nature, so I may not be able to confirm exactly. Lakshmana, come here. Pashya Lakshmana Vaidehya. Pashya Lakshmana. See Lakshmana. Santyaktam hriyamanaya uttariyam idam bhumau sharira bhushanani cha. Uttariyam. Check whether this piece of silk is also hers. Lakshmana stood mum. Lakshmana, I am asking you to check if this is Sita's jewelry. Do it fast. Started shedding tears. Naham janami keyure. I cannot find out if these are Sita's jewelry. You are telling, looking at this keyuram. It is like that monkey. Now, I needed lecture demonstration here. You know this monkey here? necklace, shutti, all these are jewelry in the upper torso. Naham janami keyure, naham janami kundale. I am not able to recognize if this is Sita's kundalam. Lakshmana, then what can you recognize? Nupuretva bhijanami. Only Nupuram. What is Nupuram? There is a debate here. Nupuram in Sanskritam means the last ornament. So there is a debate whether it is the anklet or the metti worn by the, whichever is the case, both are in that region. So Nupuretva bhijanami. I can recognize only the Nupuram. Rama asked, how are you able to recognize only the Nupuram, Lakshmana? Nityam padabhivandanat. Every morning I used to fall at my sister-in-law's feet, who is my mother. So with that I am able to recognize this. Sugreeva was doubtful. What culture do these humans have? Why should they fall at the feet of their sister-in-law? He won't understand. Later we will know that. Nityam padabhivandanat. Now, Rama said, you go wake up your brother and come for a fight. We will finish this chapter soon, because after this only I have to go rescue Sita. Now Sugreeva goes with the courage. Yedutturappi vandu por yedirthiye ladarpannan nadithalangal kottivai madittadithalangu tol pudaithu nindruleitha poosal pugaityanamiga idam tudippangu urangu valithinse vittulekkenne. See, Kamban's meter is such that you will get Veeram when you will read that particular verse. He is calling, Vali, come and give me a duel. Vali got up. He said, how dare that man comes and calls me for a war? I am going to leave now. While he got up from the pit, Tara held his hand. See, as per my spies, your brother has got into collaboration and arrangement with one another person called Rama. With that courage he is coming here. I would suggest, hey Vali, don't go now. Because I have heard about Rama. Nivasa vriksha sadhunam apannanam paragatihi artanam samshayaschaiva yashaschakraika bhajanam. I have heard that he is the asylum to those who are sadhus, who are artanam, who are people in distress, who seek relief. He is the asylum. So if Rama is the asylum to such people, Chaturvidha bhajante mam janaha sukritinodjunaha artaha jignasur artharti jnani cha bharatarshava, says Gitacharya, Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. 4 kinds of people seek asylum in me, Arjuna. Arjuna asked, who are those 4 kinds of people? Chaturvidha bhajante mam janaha sukritinodjunaha. Remember these 4 people. Artaha, jignasuhu, artharti, jnani. Artaha, the one who has lost wealth and gains that back, is called artaha in Sanskrit. Nashtaishwaryam. Imagine you have lost your cell phone. Tomorrow you get it back. It is not a new object you are getting, but you are getting your object which you had lost. So you are called artaha. Artharti means the one who gets new form of wealth. If you have got new cell phone today, you are artharti. If you have got back the cell phone that you have lost, you are artaha. So both these categories comes under a category called aishwaryarthi. Those who desire material pleasure in this world. Second, jignasu. Jignasu means one who wishes to know about the Jivatma more. They are called jignasu. Third category, this jignasu, they are called kaivalyarthi. Aishwaryarthi, kaivalyarthi. Third, jnani. Jnani means those people who desire to know about Paramatma. First you have known Jivatma, then you go to the next step to learn Paramatma. They are called Bhagavallabharthi. So Aishwaryarthi, Kaivalyarthi, Bhagavallabharthi. Aishwaryarthi are indicated by 2 names by Krishna, Artaha and Artharthi. Jignasu are Kaivalyarthi. Jnani is Bhagavallabharthi. So these are the 4 kinds of people. Alvar in the Tamil Prabandham mentions Eluvar, Vidaikolvar, Indulayanai Valuvanigaindu Vaigal Toluvar. He mentions of the three categories. So these three categories are put forth as Nivasa Vriksha Sadhunam. It may seem a bit tough, but I'm forced to explain that verse. Nivasa Vriksha Sadhunam Apannanam Paragatihi Artaram Samshayaschaiva Yashaschakkaiga Bhajanam. So do not go now, Vali, be careful. After she told this, Vali tells, Nachakkaryo Visharaste Raghavam Prati Matkrite. The all-knower, the omniscient, the omnipresent, the Sarvajna called as Rama will not get into me and my brother Tara. He tells his wife Tara, he will never get into this. So at that point in time, there is one beautiful interjunction by Vyasa in Mahabharata, which is also Satyavakyam. When Draupadi is kidnapped by, you have to tell me the name. Dushasana pulled her. Who kidnapped Draupadi? Saindhava. Who is that Saindhava? See, he is correct. Sindhu Desha Maharaja, brother-in-law, because he was Dushyala's husband. His name was Jayadratha. He was one of the causes of death to Abhimanyu. So Jayadratha kidnapped Draupadi, and then she was rescued back that time. Yudhishthira tells, see, my life has become such a pity. We are in the forest, my wife is kidnapped. That is when Markandeya comes and explains. See, do not go into the self-piteous mode. There was one person who was more a Dharmaraja than you. His name was Rama and his wife was kidnapped. So he mentions the entire Ramayana in Mahabharatam. At that point in time, Vyasa tells, Paryashankadatamir Sugreevam Gatamanasam. So Vali, the very moment Tara tells Vali, do not go and fight with Sugreeva, become friends with Sugreeva. She tells, right? So Vali doubts that his wife has been waiting to have a relationship with his brother. Shankayata. Now, Vali goes, and then there is a duel between Vali and Sugreeva. Both were looking same. Vani Rani, Sita Gita, all they were looking the same. So at that point in time, Rama was unable to recognize who is Sugreeva, who is Vali. The first day, Sugreeva was extremely wounded. He said, I believed you and me. Look at what state I am in. No, I knew that you were being pounded and you were being hit, Sugreeva. Sugreeva said, how did you know? Because generally the equation is whoever receives wounds is Sugreeva, whoever hits is Vali. This is the general formula. Why did Sugreeva have to go through this? Because he did Bhagavata Avacharam by not offering a seat to Lakshmana. Now, the next day, Lakshmana adorns Sugreeva with a mala of Gaja Pushpam. It's called Gaja Pushpi Mala. So they go and start fighting. So as they fight, Rama, as they keep fighting through the entire day, at one point in time, Sugreeva and Vali, while they were fighting, Rama stands in front of them. Note every word of mine. In front of them, hidden behind a tree, and shoots an arrow at Vali. That arrow goes and pierces Vali's chest, and like a tree that has been affected by a severe thunder and lightning strike, he falls on the ground. Muktastu vajra nirghoshaha pradipta shani sannibhaha raghavena mahabano Vali vakshasi paditaha Tadastena Mahateja Viryayuktaha Kapishwaraha Vegena Bhihato Vali Nipapata Mahitale. He fell on the ground. The Tamil poet Kamban, don't think that I am digressing too much into the Tamil Ramayanam. Well, other Ramayanams are also equally beautiful. Kamban does an excellent job in this conversation. So there is one verse which he suggests how Vali fell on the ground. Mummaishal ulagukkellam moola mandirathai மற்றும் தம்மையே தமர்க்கு நல்கும் தனி பெரும் பதத்தை தனியே பெரும் பதத்தை தானே இம்மையே எழுமை நோய்க்கும் மருந்தினை ராமன் என்னும் செம்மை சேர் நாமம் தன்னை கண்களால் தெரிய கண்டான். கண்களால் தெரிய கண்டான். He saw through his eyes Rama. See what the way, I don't know, simple Tamil, kandeen in Tamil means I saw. There is another word for seen, parthen, rasiten, pakkambara, all this, you know the songs, right? Parthen means seen, I saw. Kandeen also means saw. Two words, if they mean the same meaning, then it is redundant, right? Parthen means seeing. Kandeen means seeing with an element of surprise. If they keep water, for me I should say, they left water, parthen, which means I saw water. If they say, Thannir Vaitargal, Kandeen, means I have not seen water for the last 6 months. That is the implication. He says, Ramam ennum semmai ser namam thannai kangalal theriya kandan, because he was not expecting Rama to kill him. And what did he see in that arrow? He took that arrow, it was inscribed on it Rama. Rama ennum semmai ser. So it was a customized arrow. See, today we have all that customized t-shirts, mugs and all, right? So it was written Rama over it. Now, as Vali falls, because he is the one who has vanquished Ravana in a war. While Vali was once doing Sandhya Vandhanam, Ravana comes. I've heard that there is Vali here. Vali, come for a duel. Vali's wife Tara said, see, he is doing Sandhya Vandanam, don't disturb him. He is not a gentleman, he gets angry very soon. The moment Vali found this call for a duel very irritating and annoying, he came and he held Ravana in his in the gap between his arm and the body, and then he started flying from one ocean to the other, it seems. Ravana had a severe migraine. He will have 10 migraines together. From Arabian Sea to Bay of Bengal to Kanyakumari. After that, he left Ravana, and Ravana fell down. And Vali said, it seems you wanted to have some fight, now can we have her? No, just like that I came. It was a comedy show, stand-up comedy. That's all. So, Vali is the one who has troubled even the so-called famous Ravana. Today, while he fell with one arrow, he had the shock of his life. Tears started rolling down his cheeks, now out of pain, that sudden shock. Then Rama comes slowly from behind the tree, he walks towards Vali. Then he recognizes this must be Rama, and then starts telling, Kulinaha sattva sampanna tejasvi charita vrataha Rama karuna vedicha prajanam chahide rataha Sanukrosho Mahotsavam samayajño dridhavrataha Ityetat sarvabhutani kathayanti yasho bhuvi. This is a nindastuti. See, Sanātana Dharma is unique in many ways. I'll tell you how. We treat God, Paramatma, Bhagavan, whichever form we have. See, if you ask what is the relationship between God and us, any religion will say He is God, we are a part of His creation, He is all powerful, we are at His mercy. But you know what is the relationship what Sanātana Dharma suggests? In certain cases, the Lord is the devotee's child. See, I don't know if you've heard of a great Sri Vaishnava Acharya. He was called Vatsya Varada Guru, later called as Nadadur Ammal. He treated Varadaraja as his very own son. That is why when piping hot milk was served, here you can't serve such hot drinks, right? Then there will be legal issues. So they'll say, keep your lips carefully, it may be lukewarm warm. So they served hot milk to Varadaraja. So Varadaraja next day came and said, see, my tongue has turned red because they served me hot milk. The next day, Vatsya Varada Guru, he started cooling the milk. He did. That point in time, the Lord remarked, it seems, only a mother does this to the child. Are you my mother? Neer in Ammalo. So there is a mother-son relationship. So there is you can be the Lord's consort. What did Radha think of Krishna? Vadasi yadi kinchidapi dantaruchi kaumudi haraduttarati miramadi ghoram priye charushile. He got late for that coffee meeting with Radha. She got angry. She got upset. Krishna comes and says, if you are angry, use your sharp nails to do some scratches on me. Through this, at least your anger should come down. If you are not happy with it, keep your lotus-like feet on my head. Mama Shirasi Mandanam. Will any civilization support such concepts where you are telling the Lord, where the Lord tells you, you hit me, you bite me? If you see a little Krishna, you may want to pinch his cheeks. If you go to Rajamannar Gudi, where he gives the darshanam of Rajagopala, Arivenunandavana Malandama Malare Manamuhandanaru Maname Manamalaindu Magarandam Tanai Nadi Varu Pannuhanda Karuvandanu Pingudale Kudalisaye Arave Nadamadu Marase Yenuire Yetanai Ketalum போதும் என்பதே இல்லை படியாச்சே கோபியருடன் குழலூதி கோபியரோடு உறவாடும் தன்னிகரில்லாத ராஜ கோபால சுவாமி. So if you look at Krishna, you may want to pinch his cheeks. Any civilization you go and tell, they'll ask you a question, how do you treat your God? I want to pinch him. Because Sanātana Dharma tells there is 9 forms of relationship between the Jivatma and Paramatma. So you can treat him the way you want. So there is one stuti called Ninda Stuti in Sanātana Dharma. No other religion, in my limited knowledge, approves of this, where you can go and insult the Lord. You have to insult the Lord sarcastically. See, I'll tell you what is sarcasm in the religious sphere. My Acharya, who taught me Sri Bhashyam, he's a great speaker, a great adhikari in Shastram. His name is Karunakarachar. So he comes in the lineage of Sri Bhashya Simhasanam. They are all authorities of Ramanuja's work. Primary magnum opus called Sri Bhashya. It seems during his balyam, he once went to a revered organization, Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. If you have not heard of it, I am just telling you, it's called Andavan Ashramam. So he went there. So at that point in time, the pontiff at that point in time was called Tirukudandai Andavan. So generally when we go to our matham or ashramam, our acharyas will say, go eat and come. Like who our mothers will say. So he went. Before leaving, the acharya told my acharya Karunakaran Swami, go have the prasadam. It is excellent. It is lavanyam. Generally you don't use the word lavanyam for prasadam. Lavanyam means beautiful. But he thought, why is Acharya using the adjective lavanyam for food? Anyways, he went. After eating, he realized why he said lavanyam. Because the prasadam had lot of salt, lavanam. So he said lavanyam, which is sarcasm. You cannot, see, you should never find faults, but you have to speak the truth. So you will have to understand. See, generally if you go to a marriage, imagine there has been one batch of people who have consumed food. You are going next. You may ask the person whom you know in the previous batch, eppadi irukku? Means you have to think and eat. See, they have never said a word that it is bad. But that see, generally after the lecture, you go out. Imagine somebody is coming. Sholindu kara, eppadi irukku? How is the lecture? Thank God I am not coming, they will say and go. So the reaction that you give will determine the sarcasm in it. Now when Rama comes, you know what Vali says? You are called the epitome of mercy, right? You are called as a person who sticks to dharmam, right? You are the one who's treated with long arms, who fights war only if necessary, right? So look at the sarcasm. This is called Ninda Stuti as per the commentator Maheshwara Tirtha. Then he says, now he starts accusing. Look at this. If you listen to this lecture from here on, till now it is okay. From now on, if you listen, you will get cleared of all the doubts that come in Ramayana with respect to Vali's Maranam. Why did a great Kshatriya, a valorous person called Rama, have to end up shooting behind the tree and all of this? He could have gone and fought with Vali, right? He was a great Kshatriya. It doesn't matter whether you are before him or in front of him or not in front of him. Of course, there is one supportive statement that comes, that if you fight in front of Vali, half of Vali's valor or power will half of the opposite person's power will go to Vali. So if it is 100 is to 100, then it will become 150 is to 50. 3:1 ratio it will become. So whoever goes and fights in front of Vali will become tired. Vali will become more powerful. So that is why Rama fought. Because if Rama goes and stands, half of his power will go. But that rule will not be applicable here, because Rama is not 100. He is fire. I'll tell you how. You take laddu. If I want half the laddu, you cut that laddu into half, give me half, and what is left? Half is left, correct. Now during Deepavali, I light other lamps. I take fire from this lamp to light the second lamp. How much of the fire in the previous lamp is left? Same. So Brahman is Purnam, Purnamada. Purnam idam purnat. How much ever you take apart out of the whole remains a whole. You are able to understand? So even if Rama ends up fighting before Vali, this 150:50, 3:1, all that won't apply. So that rule is taken away. That is why people say Vali का जो बल है वो आधा जाएगा, इसलिए वो बाली है. That is why they say, but which is wrong. I'll tell you how. In nomenclature, in Khadi Boli Hindi, in Awadhi, Tulasidas refers to him as Bali. We have an island also in the archipelago nation called Bali. First of all, his name was Vali. Va. Certain languages do not possess certain letters. Bengali as a language doesn't have the letter Va. So every word that has Va will become Va. Chakravarti will become Chakravarti, Vidya will become Vidya, Vrindavanam will become Vrindavanam. So that rule won't apply here. Now let us see what he accuses. He says, Rama, I have heard that you have lost your kingdom. See, Vali had very good general knowledge. Here he was reading the Times of Hastinapura, Times of Ayodhya, all those newspapers. So, I heard that you have lost your kingdom. Probably it is out of this madness, sheer madness, that you wanted to acquire my kingdom and you came all this way to kill me. Had you asked me, I would have given this kingdom. I am known to be a charitable person. I know that your father, in order to keep up the promise that he had made to his wife Kaikeyi, though he was not accepting to that promise, had to keep up with that promise because he was truthful, sincere, honest, grounded. And your brother Bharata, though he was given the kingdom of Ayodhya on a golden platter, refused to accept it because he thought Shastram tells the kingdom has to go to the eldest of the brothers and it belonged to you. And he relinquished the Rajyam which came to him. Your father was a sincere person, your brother was an honest person. Where were you born in the middle? Not having an iota of sincerity. Vaimayum maravum kaathu mannuyir turandavallal thuyavan maindane nee baradan mun thonrinaye. You may say, Vali, you have committed this crime, that crime, but that doesn't matter. You have no right to come into this territory because this territory doesn't come under your jurisdiction. You have no rights to interfere in what is happening in my kingdom or not. First of all, you are not the coronated king. What position do you hold to come and question me? You may say, you have excommunicated your dear brother, you are holding your brother's wife captive, all that is fine, but you have no right to ask. Vishayeva puravate yada papam karomyaham nachatvam vajaneham kasmatam hamsya kilbisham. If at all you still think that you are a king is supposed to have forgiveness. Even if I have committed mistakes, you should be the one to forgive, and you are coming and punishing another person in a territory that doesn't come under your jurisdiction. Probably all of you who are fans of good Indian English literature will remember in The Merchant of Venice, Shylock makes a plea. Right? I want a pound of flesh closest to the heart without a drop of blood. Then comes a beautiful poem called The Quality of Mercy. You seem to possess no iota of mercy, Rama. Sāmadānam kṣamā dharmaha satyam dhriti parakramo parthivanam guna rajan dandaschapyapyukarishu. Rama, I have heard that Kshatriyas come on a hunting mode and end up hunting animals for a variety of reasons. They hunt. I've heard that certain animals are being hunted down for their skin. A tiger, a deer comes up with a beautiful hide. So they hunt those animals. The flesh of deer is consumed. It's called venison. So a deer is hunted for that. A tiger's nails are also useful. I don't know if you have seen those necklaces all the miners used to wear. It's called Pulinakam. You know, just for your information I'll tell, because Puli has come. In Srimad Bhagavatam, as soon as Krishna is born and shifted to Gokulam, in the first few days, weeks itself, there are many asuras who come. First comes the lady as a wet nurse called as Putana Balaghatini. Then she is killed. Then a few days later, she keeps Krishna on a cradle next to a Shakatam, a damaged cart. And that becomes Shakata Asura Utkacha. Then Trinavarta, who comes as a tornado. Probably if I had been in the Midwest and giving lectures, they'd be able to relate to it, right? So, while all this comes, Mother Yashoda is extremely concerned about her child, her son. So she wants to create an armor for her son, Kavacham. So she brings the nails of the tortoise, tiger, and makes a Kavacham, you call it the talisman, correct? So it's called Darat in Tamil. And she ties that to Krishna. Kurma Vyagri Nagaparimalayir Panchaheti Yashoda. Now we get a different kind of Darat. In those days they used to use nails of tiger and all of that. So animals were hunted for different purposes. Elephants are poached for ivory. Now Vali makes a point. I am neither an elephant to possess ivory. I am neither the deer nor tiger to have nails or hides that can be beautiful. I am a monkey. Nobody even consumes monkey flesh. I don't talk about the wet markets of Wuhan, I don't know. But here, Pancha Panchanakha Bhakshya Brahma Kshatrena Raghava. I have heard, Rama, that Kshatriyas consume meat. I told you yesterday itself, yesterday or the day before yesterday, Rama was a non-vegetarian. Some people can't accept that fact at all. Now, sir, in that case, what do we do for the Sannidhis in the temple? Remember, Sannidhi becomes an Archavataram. Archavataram has to follow Agamam. Agamam tells you should not place. non-veg in the temple. Originally they might have consumed. See, real Garuda, what he would have eaten? Snakes. Can we keep snakes in Garuda Sannidhi here? We can keep only puliyore. Correct. Original Garuda will not have puliyore. Right. But Agamam tells you have to keep only vegetarian food. That is why. Now there will be a question. Why? There will be a counter question. Why can't we keep fresh now? Bhadrachala Rama, original Rama might have had non-veg. But in the temple he will have only Dadyonam. So there were five nailed, 5 animals' flesh which could be consumed. Here goes the shloka. I told you I'll mention it that day. Pancha Nakha Bhakshya Brahma Kshatrena Raghava Shalyakaha. What does Shalyaka mean? Rhinoceros. Its flesh used to be consumed. Shvavidhaha, porcupine. Godha, iguana. Shashaha, rabbit. Kurmascha, tortoise. So these were the 5 animals' flesh which used to be consumed by Kshatriyas. This is nowhere close to what non-veg is being consumed today. Right? Panchamaha. So these are the 5 animals. I don't fall in the 5 animals category. This is what Vali is making an argument. I don't come. I'm neither a tortoise, iguana, porcupine, rhinoceros. I'm a monkey. I don't have ivory. I don't have skin that can be useful. I don't have nails which can be converted into necklaces. Why did you come and kill me? Then Vali says, see, I have found out the reason, Rama. You got mad at the demon who abducted your wife. So from this what do we understand? Vali was cognizant that Rama's wife Sita was kidnapped. Okay, point. He said, your wife has been kidnapped by a demon. You were mad at him. You couldn't find him. So you wanted to showcase your anger on someone. So you showcased anger on me. Arakkan illai endral kurakkan kittitro. You couldn't find a demon. You found a monkey here. I have known that you are a very generous, magnanimous, simple, sober, grounded, sincere, honest person, but I do realize that all these virtues are found in you only if Sita is besides you. This is what I have understood. Mameva yadi purvam tvam yadertham machodayah maithilim ahameka akva tavachani tavan bhave கோயில் தருமம் உங்கள் குலத்துதித்தோர்களுக்கெல்லாம் ஓவியத்து எழுதவண்ணா உருவத்தாய் உடைமையன்றோ ஆவியை ஜனகன் பெற்ற அன்னத்தை அமிழ்தில் வந்த தேவியை பிரிந்தினை பின்னை திகைத்தனை போலும் செய்கை. So, you have lost Sita, you have lost all your virtues. Rama, what you have done is a sheer blot on the legacy of Raghuvamsham. From now on, Raghuvamsham cannot sing laurels and blow its own trumpet because you are the one who has caused that blemish on that Vamsham. Rama listened peacefully, quietly. Had we been in Rama's place, wait, Vali, don't say, we would have interjected. This is how we are. Rama patiently listened. See, the Stephen Covey, in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, 4th habit, he says, listen first to understand and then be understood. Correct? This is what is. So, Stephen Covey must have read Ramayanam in his Purva Janma. Rama must have inspired him from being proactive till sharpen the saw, which is the 7th habit. He gets it from Ramayanam. Rama patiently listened. Then he said, Vali, do you have some other points? Anything more to say? No. Lakshmana knew what was coming. When Rama starts his speech this way, that means he is going to end up giving a long lecture till 9 p.m. He said, Vali, Ikshvakunam yam bhumihi sashaila vanakanana. Please call your accountant, auditor. Ask your auditor, has he filed the taxes? In the receipt to filing, getting the acknowledgement for filing the taxes, you see, it is mentioned, please send this receipt to Ayodhya Processing Center. You told me that you do not fall under my jurisdiction, but your IT filing says that you come under the central government there. So, you may be unaware, but the truth will not change because of your ignorance. You are ignorant. Tell me that, Vali, that you are ignorant. But the truth is, Kishkindha comes under my jurisdiction. Now you may ask, Vali, when I say my jurisdiction, Rama, you are not the ruling king. Yes, I am not the ruling king. My father was ruling. I was supposed to rule. Bharata is now set to rule, but Bharata is ruling under the Padukas. Now, Bharata has deputed me as a supervisor in Kishkinda region. So I have been given the powers to ask and question if something is illegal and immoral. So I am questioning you. Do not question my authority. You may be wondering, Rama, you have come on hunting. I have no ivory. I have no nails with me like the tortoise or the tiger. How did you hunt? A person who wishes to hunt doesn't write an essay of 1,000 words why he wishes to hunt. If a person is hunting, he can end up hunting any animal. He doesn't have to give explanation as to I am hunting the tiger because point number 1. I don't have to explain why I am hunting you. You may say I may have nothing. I may find some value in your body. You don't have to worry about that. And you are telling me, Rama, how did you leave away forgiveness? Shastram tells that you have to be extremely forgiving towards others. You talk about Shastram. The very moment you talk about Shastram, Vali, you cease to be an animal. You have become a human. Because animals don't understand Shastram. If you go talk to any animal in the US, tell what is Second Amendment. Will that answer? I plead by the Fifth Amendment. Will that say? It won't say. Correct? Those animals will not have that knowledge. The moment the animals talk such languages, then they come under the human jurisdiction. So till you were telling that I am animal, it is okay. But you said, Shastram tells that Kshatriyas have to be forgiving. So you have studied Shastram. The moment you have studied Shastram, you have comprehended Shastram and you relate to Shastram, you are no more an animal, you are a human. And now you told me, Rama, I may have kidnapped my brother's wife, I may have excommunicated my brother. This is all common in our family. When you know Shastram and you become a human being, you have to adhere to the rules of a human being. A good human being, as per Shastram, should not approach his daughter, his brother's wife, with a bad or an evil thought. You have taught your brother's wife as your mistress, which in itself is an act that needs to be punished and you need to be guillotined for that. You may be telling me, Vali, why Rama should you interfere? You are a Kshatriya, you have come to Uttar Pradesh, your wife is in Lanka, go take a direct flight called Air Lanka, finish that war and come. Why do you have to come to Karnataka and do all these politics? You may ask. See, Vali, I am a Kshatriya. You were talking about Dharma. Kshatriya Dharma tells you have to protect your subjects. Here I found that a person who had performed Sharanagathy, who is Sugreeva, you did not forgive him. First mistake. While not forgiving your brother Sugreeva, despite him performing Sharanagathy, you even held his wife captive, which is a second mistake. When I see glaring mistakes in front of my eyes as an honest Kshatriya, I have to take action. You may ask, Vali, that if all this were to happen in Kosala region, you could have done Rama, but why are you coming to Kishkinda region? A Kshatriya, wherever he goes, he is a Kshatriya. I am giving an example from India. I don't know about the example here. Imagine there is an inspector called Ratnavel from T4 police station, Saidapet. 2 days later, he is going to his relative's house in Arepuram, Raja Annamalapuram. And while he goes to that house, he sees one man beating his wife on the road. Now this inspector's wife tells, go and ask that man, he should not be doing that. See, I am T4 police station's police. I will not interfere in T3 police station, you will not ask. So wherever you are, it is your duty of the police to question something that is wrong. I saw something wrong here, so I am questioning. Do not tell me where my jurisdiction lies. You may be telling, Rama, you have lost your wife, that is why you have lost your senses, you have become a lunatic. So you were aware that my wife is missing. How? Because she must have cried for help. How do I know that? Because your brother ended up showing me jewelry when she cried for help. So that cry for help was heard even by you. As a Kshatriya of this region, you should have gone to the rescue of my wife. Instead, you looked at Ravana and said, bye. So you were supportive of Ravana's criminal action because Ravana and Vali had a tie-up. There is a verse in Uttarakandam that comes. You know, the moment Ravana fell from Vali's clutches, he says, no, I didn't come to fight with you. From today, Vali, Tava Putraha, my sons are your sons. My region is your region. My kingdom is your kingdom. My action is your action. My wives are your wives. Now you may be wondering, sir, was this uttered by Ravana? I will tell you Ravana's verse from Uttarakandam. Daraha putraha puram rashtram bhogachadana bhojanam sarvamevadi vibhaktam no bhavishyati harishvara. This is the 23rd verse in Gayatri Ramayanam. It is the 41st verse of the 34th adhyayam in the 7th canto, which is Uttarakandam. This begins with Daraha. What does this da imply? Prachodayat. Varadiliya? That da. So he tells, my wives are your wives. What kind of a moral character this Ravana had? So the understanding was, if he does some criminal action, this man will not question. If that man does a criminal action, he will not have a question. So when Sita was being kidnapped, he said, thumbs up, emoticon. Good, done, carry on. So for a person of such a low caliber and thought, you need to be killed, Vali. So I have shot this arrow. Any other questions to ask, Vali? Vali said, whatever I have committed is a mistake. Pratyuvacha tato Ramam pranjalir vanareshwaraha. He put his palms together. 1 to 10, convincing reply. Second telling, don't continue any further. Yatvamatha narasreshta tattaivana samshayaha. I have committed a mistake. I should have not sent my brother when he sought Sharanagathy. Now I realize, Rama. I should have not treated my brother's wife in such an evil angle. She is like my daughter. I should have not done that. I should have come to the rescue of your wife, Sita, Rama. I don't know why I did like this. I should have not questioned you at all, Rama. See, my arrogance had clouded my eyes and acted as a veil. That is why out of sheer arrogance and ignorance I put such questions to you. I have committed a mistake. Now, Vali, the accused, the accuser, now says that I am the person who has committed the mistake. Case closed. You have to archive the case in the library. Now, we don't read the original. Somebody in Quora.com will tell, Vali was killed, Rama did this, is it right or wrong? Immediately we'll read 2-3 verses commented by some person, commentator there, and then we'll say, ऐसा राम को नहीं करना चाहिए था, ये तो बहुत गलत है. जैसे कि हम पूरा वो मूल रामायण पढ़ चुके हैं, हम यदि पूरा मूल पाठ किए हैं, आचार्य वर्ष से कोई कालक्षेप हुआ है, प्रवचन सुने हैं, या हम खुद रिसर्च किए हैं, तो बात कर सकते हैं. So, making sweeping statements on scriptures will only put us and make us ignorant in the assembly of scholars. So, if at all we have questions on Ramayana and Mahabharata or Bhagavatam, first read the original. Nobody has the patience. 24,000 verses Ramayana, 1,25,000 verses Mahabharatam. Second, we don't know the language in which it was being delivered, Sanskritam. Vyasa and Valmiki did not give it in English, in which language we have mastered more than Wren and Martin. So, when there is no patience, we don't want to read, we don't want to listen, questions will be many. That is the beauty. We have all become We have all become Prashna Chakravarti. What have we become doctors at? Questions. First read, first listen, research, then ask questions. This Sanātana Dharma does not forbid you from asking questions. This is one civilization that believes that questioning is an art and questioning is one of the only means to better realization. But do it after extensive research. You know, the way people ask questions, it will be in such a way as if they have created Andamum Padaithu Ulagamaithayum Tangi Naan Seida in the Ulagathil Kelvi Ketpadarku Idarill. The way they ask questions. Because I come from one of the states where every leader will ask questions in Tamil Nadu. Rama did this, Rama did that. They have problems with Rama because he had one wife. They won't have problems with Krishna. Because they can follow Krishna very easily. Right? Now, after this Aparadhakshamanam was done, now all this is done. He was accused, Rama was accused, Rama gives an explanation, Vali is convinced. But there is a point. Rama did everything right, but why should he stand behind the tree? He could have stood before the tree and given a short right. But the point is, the counterpoint is, the duel was between Sugreeva and Vali. See, there was no direct reason for Rama to fight Vali. See, if Rama comes in front of Vali, Vali will say, hey, Namaskara Rama, how are you, how's your father? Then Rama has to say, now we have to fight. Why should we fight? See, there was no proper reason. Of course, Vali was at fault. But there was no proper reason. So Rama could not have fought. But still, why did Rama shoot from behind the tree? Well, for this there is a beautiful explanation. I'll give you an explanation. Whether it is beautiful or not, you check. The commencement of Srimad Ramayanam in Balakandam, the celestials headed by Indra go and prostrate at the lotus-like feet of the Lord in Karya Vaikuntham or Kshirabdi, telling that the demons are causing extreme calamities and problems on Mother Earth, and to restore normalcy and righteousness, the Lord should be born. So the Lord says, Siddha Gandharva Yakshasta Tadaswam Sharanam. Do not worry, I will be born as Rama, and all you Devas should be born as monkeys. Do you remember day 1 at about 4:15 I spoke this shlokam? Right? Before Rama Jananam, this shlokam came. It came. Don't worry. Don't doubt it all. It came. So, Indra was to be born as Vali, Surya as Sugreeva, Vayu as Hanuman, Agni as Neela, Vishwakarma as Nala. So, this was the arrangement. But what did Vali do? Vali, instead of helping Rama, he went into the opposition camp, which is he joined Ravana. Okay, how is this? For this, one of the greatest speakers in the Tamil language, his name was Pulavar Kiran. He used to give a very interesting anecdote. Let's say there is a 3-day play at SSVT. Day 1. It is an act from the Sangam work, the Tamil Sangam work, a very classical old work called as Silappadigaram. The story of the anklet, where there was a beautiful woman, very, very coy, very shy, a repository of all good auspicious attributes. Her name was Kannagi. She is married to the merchant of those times called as Kovalan. While they were leading a happy life, this man falls in love with a courtesan called as Madhavi. And he happens to stay in her house. He squanders all his rich wealth spending on her. So this is the story. So the marriage scene of Kannagi and Kovalan is enacted on day 1 at SSVT auditorium. What do you call this auditorium? Auditorium. Okay, in this auditorium. So I am the director. Okay, I have directed this play. I am standing behind the screen. I am having the dialogue sheet with me. I know what is the sequence. The crew is behind. The cast is getting ready. The crew is behind. Everything is ready. Now the scene is that of the first night of Kovalan and Kannagi. So Kannagi walks with a jar of hot milk. As she walks, Kovalan describes her. Annanadai padaitha Kannagi varu. Oh, the one with the gait of a swan, come towards me. This is, and then he describes, oh, the one with a slender waist, moon-like countenance, beautiful fish-like kundalams in your ears. All this he describes. This is day one. Everyone appreciates. They all clap. Excellent drama, very good director. They leave. Second day, day two, I am the same director. I have directed day two also. Day two, the play is different. It is Kamba-Ramayanam. First day it was Silappadigaram. Second day it is Kamba-Ramayanam. Kamba-Ramayanam, the sequence is Lakshmana has to come and seek the permission of Sumitra. So he has to tell, mother, my brother has been ordained to go to the forest. Even I wish to go and help him in his exile period. Please give me permission. This should be his dialogue. But instead, what happens? The first day, whoever acted as Kovalan is Lakshmana today. The one who acted as Kannagi is Sumitra today. First day it is husband-wife relationship. Now son-mother relationship. He should be telling mother, I have to go to the forest. Instead he says, the one with a slender waist, moon-like face, star-like eyes. The audience, what is this? Silappadigaram's inertia, hangover, or is it, what is happening? They get confused. Now he has uttered the wrong dialogue. Now first day they appreciated, good director. I came after the thing was over, I did like this, everybody took my autograph and went. Second day I am the director. Immediately audience will ask, where is that director? No, I will not come in the front. What I'll do? I will take one huge rod. I will pull this Lakshmana by his collar and take him from the backstage, correct? The world is a stage. I am not telling this. Shakespeare tells this. King Jacks, he is a cynic in As You Like It. So, in As You Like It, he says, all the world's a stage and all the men and women mere players. Right? So the world is a stage. Vedanta Deshika tells in Dashavatara Stotram, Bhumika. So this is one play, this is one Rangam. Sri Rangam is the Nritta Sthanam for Mahalakshmi and Narayana. So this is a stage. In this stage, the Lord, who's the director, had asked Indra to be Vali. The dialogue given was, Rama, I will come and help you, was his dialogue. Instead, what did he do? He uttered the wrong dialogue. Ravana, we will become friends. Who's the director? Rama. He thought if he comes in the front and pulls him, it will be an act of idiosyncrasy. So he took and pulled him quietly. That is why he stood behind the tree and pulled Vali, who uttered the wrong dialogue. So this act of standing behind the tree was not to escape Vali's extra boon that anybody who fights him will get will lose half its power, was not for that. It was neither to tell that I should not interfere, but to say this man has uttered the wrong dialogue by going to the wrong camp, so I shall pull him behind. So, Vali, now while he dies, he calls Sugreeva and tells him, Raghavasya cha te karyam kartavyam avishankaya syad dharmo hyaharane tvam cha himsyad avamanitaha. Sugreeva, I have one advice for you. You are a nice man. You have promised Rama that you will help him with your army. Honor your promise. Why did he have to say that? There is a reason why. I'll tell you later. Now Vali tells Angada, his son, see, I am leaving you to the custody of my dear brother. He will take good care of you, but remember, what all nakras that you were doing with me, you should not do with your uncle. Only parents will accept their children's tantrums, nobody else. Behave yourself. Yatha hitvam mahabaho lalitaha satatam maya natatha vartamanam tvam sugrivo bahumanyate nasya mitrair gatam gaccherma shatrubhirarindama Bhartur Artha Parodantah Sugreeva Vashago Bhava. Then Tara comes in that scene with disheveled hair. She comes and she wants to abuse Rama. Then she tells, Tvam aprameyascha durasadascha jitendriyascha uttama dharmikascha akshaya kirtischa vichakshanascha kshitiksamavan kshatajopamaksha. She is coming to abuse. She tells, Tvam aprameyascha, the one whose Mahatvam is beyond one's understanding and description. Aprameyana Idisidalu Yashode Jagado Udharana Tvam aprameyascha Durasadascha Jitendriyascha. You have won over your senses, for which the commentator tells what she means looking at Rama by telling you won over your senses. Yen Mamanarai pol Ahalya Jaran Allani, tells the commentator. She meant, it seems, you are not like my father-in-law Indra. Rama, you are not like my father-in-law, because Indra was Ahalya Jaran, the one who misbehaved with Ahalya. You are not like my father-in-law. You are neither like my husband who misbehaved with his brother's wife. Ivanai polavum alla, Mamanarai polavum alla. You are neither like Brahma who was Sudabhirakshanam. Sudabhiraksha means one who forced his daughter. You are neither like Brahma, you are neither like my father-in-law, nor like my husband, nor like Chandra who's misbehaved with his teacher's wife Tara. You have lost your wife, you have lost your kingdom, yet you know how to respect other women. So you have won over your senses. Jitendriyascha Uttama dharmikascha. You have killed my husband. I thought you have done a heinous act, but now I understand. You thought if you keep him alive for some more time, he may end up committing crime number 3 and 4. In order to escape him or pull him back from committing more papams, you have killed him. So you are a Uttama